Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvetra Sukhina Santu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhattani Pashyantu Ma Kasyit Dukhamapyuna. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ
We were studying Tapa and Prasad. Tapa, the austerity. Last time we were studying, and perhaps I might have given the feeling that Tapa, meaning remaining absent from certain food item or certain activity, we call it Tapa. And I mentioned it is not Tapa, but still, nevertheless, it is not a bad beginning. But once we reach to the maturity, and once we understand what is Tapa, what changes does it bring it to our life, and whether we are doing asanas, we are doing meditation, or we are doing pranayam, bottom line is, are we expanding? And is our mind calming down? These are the two elements one has to study very seriously. Tapa, we mentioned that Tapa is to smelt, mean to heat up and remove the impurities. Today, I would like to add a few more things into it. And before even I add it, just 1 or 2 minutes of review of what we did so far on tapa. The objects which attracts our mind, and if you keep those objects away from you, the attraction in the mind in the potent form is still there. That's what Bhagavad Gita has been talking to us. Let me repeat. By keeping the object that attracts us or repels us, that is either raga or dvesha. Whatever brings us raga means attraction, dvesha, repulsion. So certain things we don't like, and those objects, keeping them away is not going to help us. As soon as those objects will come back, our hatred, our rejection, our disturbance comes back. So what really needs to be done is that anything and everything coming in our life, difficult though, taking that as a gift of God or a prasad. I love the word prasad. And prasad is not necessarily what we indulge through our mouth. But since we have been blessed with 5 sense organs, and whatever that we input, these are all prasad. We try to calm the mind down. Lot often we were told that when you become angry, just back out, wait for 5 minutes and do not say anything. Or take a deep breath in. That allows us not to express and let the flux or the sudden blow reduces, but back in our mind, anger still exists. It may be waiting for some other event to trigger some different switch at different time. I'm talking about the anger, but exactly like this. If you take the attraction side, how often we use the word, the food was so good, I picked out. What does that mean? The attraction was so strong that I thought that whether that sweet or that food that is the object of our taste, as soon as it came back, we want to grab it to the degree that it may never come. Similarly, those of you who happen to be a business person, and once the business attraction is there, we try to meet the deadline, inviting as much money as we can, because that is also one of the attraction, raga. Just please do not take tapa as to do with some religious holidays. Tapa has to do with every single day of our life, every single moment of our life. As soon as the word tapa comes to us, as soon as the word austerity comes to us, take that as prasad. Study your mind immediately. If it is raga, that is attraction, pause for a few minutes. Do not rush to grab that object of attraction. It may be food, it may be your beloved child, it may be business, it could be a beautiful scenery. Anything, just pause, not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and look back into your mind. What is it with which this object attracts me and changes my personality? I repeat, what is that object that attracts me and changes my personality? Like the food that I was talking about, that food makes me a pig, as if the food may never come back. A business person, a certain work that comes to, and the laborer wants to work for 2-3 shifts and make sure to make as much money. And almost all of us have been told that now is the time. You are young, make some money and save it, because you never know, this opportunity may never come back. We don't know that that point may appear to be a word of wisdom, but is it truly a word of wisdom, or an object that grows or matures your attraction? And once having installed that point in our mind, it is very difficult to remove. So important to know this. And exactly equal to, it may sound like a little humor, but when a mother, her daughter goes to in-laws' house, how many advices she is loaded with, and the seeds of the poison have been imparted, saying, do not surrender, watch out. Your mother-in-law is this, and your father-in-law is this, and do not surrender to your husband, and blah, blah, blah. Seeds have been planted. And even if a little request comes to do certain thing, our mother's word come into picture as a decision maker, and immediately thinks, hey, I'm also a professional. I'm not a servant here. So the rejection comes into picture. That is the dvesha. There is nothing wrong or there is nothing right, but ultimately you study yourself. What am I doing and what is my state of being? But if a request comes to make a cup of tea, whether you are tired or otherwise, and you take that request as prasad, as a gift of God. How the gift of God? As soon as you think, I have never seen God, nor I will ever see God in personified form, But to me, my in-laws, those my in-laws, why don't I see in the form of God themselves, incarnated? As soon as you have that incarnation, and if God would have asked you to offer a cup of tea, howsoever tired you might have been, ask yourself, would you ever say no? Would you ever come up with an excuse? I am not a servant here. As you may dare to say sometime to your husband or to your in-laws, because those are the seeds planted in you by your mother. These are the dresses that we are talking about. And this may be slightly disturbing, but if you have been ever told, why do you like a bitter melon? And the one has not even tasted the bitter melon, but the seeds have been planted. The bitter melon is bitter and the taste bitter is bad. So anytime, even if you hear or you see somewhere bitter melon, you will not go even closer to it and you will start hating. Your hatred will continue. So dear friend, the Sloka, Raga and Dvesha, they're not just the Sloka in Bhagavad Gita, but this is our day-to-day life. This is where our spirituality comes into picture. Understand, and these are not, the Bhagavad Gita is not just to be read in temple or at the time some of our family member dies. I'm not saying don't read that time too, because it can be such a solace. The guidance comes into picture. Talking about this and further studying the world of Prasad, last Wednesday or Thursday, a dialogue came to me of the Saint Sri Ramana Maharshi from two of my friends. A friend in Bombay, my college met, and another friend of mine from New Jersey. On the same day, the same photograph. And as soon as I saw this photograph, I fell in love with it and I immediately made a slide. Let me read it to you and we'll continue further. Looks like my mouse is acting. Let me see. Okay. All right. Share. Okay. This is the one that is the answer by Sri Ramana Maharshi. What he says, Raman Maharshi was asked the question, difference between desireless and wisdom. Desireless is wisdom. The two are different, but they are the same. Desirelessness is refraining from turning the mind towards any object. Turning toward the object, whereby he's talking about raga or dvesha. Wisdom means appearance of no object. In other words, not seeking what is other than the self is detachment or desirelessness. Not leaving the self is the wisdom. Now, understanding this point is so important. And let me come back to the discussion side. The point to be understood here, how often, anytime if somebody asks, who are you? Then we identify ourselves with either our profession or with nationality or with our name or with a religion. When those things are understood, instead of internally realizing that you are a divine being, you are awareness, you are consciousness. If that part is well understood, then the other part of attraction, other objects of rejection does not exist. And at that time, every element, every object is nothing but the manifestation of divinity. Whether sentient or insentient, we may call it alive or non-living. I won't like to use the word dead. So living or non-living, everything is divine manifestation. So important to understand this part. This is not the point of declaration. This is not, if somebody calls you, who gave you this discourse on Bhagavad Gita? Oh, it was awareness, it was consciousness. No, for the day-to-day life and dealing, you have to have identity. You can give the name or you can call even nationality, that's perfectly fine. But internally, are you aware that the name has been given to you? You are not the name. Nationality has been given to you for convenience. Religion was given to you for convenience. Every step in the life, for every dealing in the life, internally just become aware that you are awareness. So important. And this is not going to happen overnight, mind you. Particularly initially, it will be easier. Any appreciation come and people appreciate. internally, just feel that you're putting hands on your heart and says, I am a divine being. I am a manifestation, representation, or some form of divinity. I am awareness. And today I have the form of this body. And the body is called Sanaji. But I am a divine manifestation. Today, a plant may grow in your backyard and you may call it an apple tree. Apple tree, some point in time, may subside. And next day, it may become a blade of grass. Still, it is manifestation of divinity. It could be you. So in that light, what really we meant by expanding our awareness is that there is no thing like God. There's not a God per se in different forms, but there is nothing but God. Blade of grass is a divine manifestation. God. Apple tree, God. A speck of sand, God. Our parents, our children, any being, even a beggar, even a robber, even a killer, they take the different forms. And as soon as you come to know that every being is a manifestation of divinity, that is the expansion. That is the awareness. With that awareness, dear friends, persons like Raman Maharshi, Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishna, Paramahamsa, those, they are all the time aware that this is just the body, a representation, but I am awareness. I am a divine being. So when you have that awareness, that means what? That means you are awake and alert all the time. So in normal trend, person like us, we are not aware of it. When we are not aware, that means what? We are sleepy. We don't know what is the real world is. But do you think person like Sri Raman Maharshi or Buddha, Mahavir, Jesus Christ, do they ever sleep? No. Whether they are asleep or otherwise, they are always awake. So we have another nice sloka. Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam. As and when there is a sleep, for the rest of the common people, yogi, or the real saint, they are awake. Many times we translate this sloka as that yogis sleep when we are awake. And when we sleep, they are awake. No. Let us take that sloka and we'll progress further. Very beautiful sloka. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami. Sanyami, you call it a yogi, you can call it a saintly person, wise person. Yasham jagrati bhutani sha nisha pashyato mune. What all beings consider as day is the night of ignorance for the wise. Why they consider night? Because even during daytime, whenever all beings are considered to be awake, awake meaning being aware of that they are Jagruta, they are aware that they are awareness, the product of awareness. But they are awareness. And that is the Jagruta sthiti, alert state. What all being considered as day is the night of ignorance for the wise. They know that even though it is day and these people are awake, but it is night, these people are fumbling in the darkness of ignorance. Understand? It's not the night per se, or the light is absent. The light of knowledge is absent. So that is what Sanyami or Muni, they consider that even though it is a day, but it is the night for all being or the common being. And what all creatures, when all creatures see as night, meaning really night, night is also the night for everybody, is the day for the introspective sage. What do you mean by introspective? They are constantly aware. They are constantly aware, day or night, that they are divine being. They are awareness. They are Jiva. They are, you can call it a God. So Brahmasmi. I am that intelligence. This is the chapter 2, Sloka 69. Please understand and do not carry the image that the yogis sleep during daytime and they are awake at night. No. They are aware of common person. They are bubbling in the darkness of ignorance, whether it is day or night. And when it is really a night outside, there is such a beautiful silence. So during that stage of silence, the yogis or the munis, Sanyami, they revitalize themselves and fraction up the awareness. No matter who says what, no matter who appreciates them most, no matter who rejects them, but they know that they are not the body. Body is just a manifestation so that the karmas get exhausted and inviting the fruition time, karma to turn into fruits, not fruits per se like apple or tree, but to take the shape of that event to take place with an awareness that I am a pure self. This I have to exhaust the vasanas, and or I am being a chosen being to spread this beautiful difference between day and night. Considering this, this is a very powerful sloka. Let us hear in the right tone.
या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः.
Pashyato, even though during the regular daytime, Bhutani, every being, when they consider that they are alert and they are Jagruta, Muni consider that as Nisha, Nisha, night. Because even though they are awake, but they are not alert, they are awake to carry out the daily activity. But daily activities are being carried out under what notion? That I am Mr. Such and Such, I am Mrs. So and so, I am the president, I am a laborer, I'm a housewife. But internally, they are never aware that I am a divine being. They do not use this time for the word introspective. They are always extrospective, if there is a word. So, introspective word, all the time studying oneself as to who truly they are eternally, not during this lifespan, but eternally. That being will always be there. So the word introspection. And now coming to the purpose, if I may still use the word purpose, of meditation. I'm intentionally using the wrong word, but bear with me for our practical purposes. This is good presentation. For practical purpose, you can call yourself anything in a social dealing. But as soon as you silence your mind, with the mind will go your identity. With the mind, it will go with your memory. With the mind, it will go your identifying buddhi. And when the mind remains as non-filtered, so the mind is not bad. But if the mind is used as a mind for worldly affair and identifying yourself with the objects rather than recognizing that you are the subject. Because even the mind becomes mind. Who powers mind? So as soon as every night, and I don't say night only, understand, don't take me wrong. But the night there is a relative silence all around us. There are lesser chances of object around us taking us to the stage of raga, dvesha, or even neutral state. But neutral state is also not quite neutral because it draws you away from the fact that you are awareness. You are Atma. And understand somewhere in religious books, Atma word is also used for the mind also. So try to understand what they mean. And when you study, even if you study just one sloka, or once understanding what is tapa, and what is austerity, what is prasad, gift. Even to think of divine, that is what the, I'm trying to remember the name of that one of the greatest yogi has said, to think of divine means to be chosen by divine. Anyhow, so feel ourselves fortunate. And I have no word to thank you, all of you, for allowing this satsang to happen, being together and discuss this idea, sharpening our awareness, or some tool to sharpen our awareness. To see that meditation is not just a meditation. With the word meditation, with the word dharana, first, you are limiting the boundaries of the mind. You are closing the gates for the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So those five senses of perception, those five gates are closed. So that at that moment, or for the period following, the input to you being something different than awareness continues. Bang, bang, bang. So we just close those gates. But nevertheless, the memory and the identifying ego and those vasanas which have been stored they're still there. And slowly, we have to sharpen that awareness so that once the gate is closed, all those gates are closed, which are the input into the mind, that you are other than divine being. You are other than awareness. Those input stops. But that doesn't mean the millions of information which has been stored in your memory, in your ego status. Those slowly, one has to bring out. And with this awareness, one has to remind yourself, it is hard, it is unpleasant. Let me warn you ahead of time. Because we all like our praises. We all like concurrences of the other friends that whatever impressions that you have from your past experiences, nothing but a group of like and dislike. That thing need to be continued. And when they don't, you dislike those people. But truly speaking, like also should not be liked, and dislike should not also be liked. And at that time, during daytime of our dealing, if at all this thing has happened at night, just go over your entire day and try wiping out the memory one at a time. And those memories, let me create a warning for myself also, that even if you would have done so-called an act of helping even somebody, but then back in your mind comes, I helped the person. Who is I? And that's where the ego comes into picture. That's where the identity comes into picture. Even that, a chance to serve somebody, chance to give gift to somebody, it is a blessing. It is a prasad that divinity, that universe chose your body, chose this manifestation of yours to help somebody else. And helping somebody else is one of the beautiful gifts. Gift in a sense, it lets you know real meaning of namaste. That means that the other person or other being, I would say, let's not use the word person. It can be a cow, can be an ant, can be a plant, can be a piece of rock. When those are helped, what does it mean? That those are also nothing but divine manifestation. As you have been given a form of a human being, so was the other given the form of an ant or a dog or a cat or a plant. Or I know most of you won't like it, but understand I can even call it a speck of sand. Those are all living beings, but since their motion is not visible, we consider that to be inert, but there is nothing inert and there is nothing sentient. Everything is divinity. So to say, go back to that beautiful sentence. There is not a God. So if you call something to be a God residing in Mathura or in Jerusalem, so that means it is that God, but all others are not. And so the different people may say different God, but there is nothing but God. Every manifestation, with the external covering, dulls our memory, dulls our mental status that you are not only you are not a divine being, but you are Mr. XYZ. That is so pathetic to understand, but that is so common. Every being understands with this thought. At least from our sadhana point of view, if we remind ourselves during the state of relative silence, all of you have heard, particularly in this class, the word relative silence. Howsoever silence it may be, there is no sound at all, but it is still a relative silence because in your mind is running at 120 miles per hour. All the disturbances exist, even though silent, but it is not silence. So at that time, when we were learning, we were told silence is not to talk, but not having anything to talk. And when there's nothing to talk about, we almost, so many often, we come to that stage when we do meditation and certain meditation, during which we feel sitting under a starry sky, and we see a huge blank, nothingness, sunyam, purnam. But that is also a relative silence. Why? Because the other side of the disturbance still remain at your subconscious level and definitely at unconscious level for sure. And why? Because as soon as this 10 minutes or half an hour of silence goes away, the other things come to back. Bang, bang, bang. But that doesn't mean that we don't do this. We do it with awareness and continuously practice. Continuously, I don't mean 24 hours, but at least all of us, we owe to ourselves 10 minutes, half an hour for our own self. And many times what really happens is when our body does not cooperate, when our mind doesn't cooperate, that's the time we think of God. Even then, it is not late. But see that we do, and see that our tapa, austerity, continues in its true sense. Studying up the disturbances. And everything is disturbance. What is our experience? And those need to be studied. That some such thing happened and I became upset. Some such thing happened and this morning being holiday and I wanted to go to the work. Freeway was so open. I was so happy. Yes, that is also an experience of objective happiness. And when there is nothing there and you have no objective classification, and there is a neutrality, there is such a beautiful state of balance. Your heart and mind is so full of compassion, so full of love, so full of peace. And that is nothing but awareness. Dear friend, I will stop here. And remember those Sloka, those of you who happen to have Bhagavad Gita's book, kindly, gently study on your own. And we have taken only a few selected Sloka and will continue further. We are just touching a few Sloka. That means total is around 700, out of which we have taken only 108, and out of which we are going in the sequence so that we might have taken 10, 15 so far. I'm not here to rush. This too is a blessing, Prasad, and with yours love for the search and your love for this kind of Prasad is a great empowering force, I can say, or not force, but the energy for me to continue, and divine helps me to share with you. We have a couple of minutes, and if you have any questions, you may do so. Bindu, Jagannath, so nice to see all of my friends. Raksha, Sujata, my dear. Hello.
I have a question, Sanaji. And I didn't get the meaning of inert. In English, what does it mean?
Meaning of what?
Inert? Did you say inert?
Inert.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
What
inert.
does it?
Apparently looking non-living. Inert, or which does not take part in anything. Inert. For example, if I use, pardon me being science student, if you take nitrogen gas, it's an inert gas. It doesn't take part into anything. But if it is oxygen, carbon dioxide, okay. And if you take like sand particles, they may appear inert, they are not doing anything. So, okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm glad you did ask.
Yeah, I was confused about that.
Somebody,
And what was the opposite word, inert, and what was the next one, section?
sentient, sentient,
Sentient?
sentient and insentient. Sentient, apparently looking, living. If you take an ant, there is a movement and there's a living, I will call living movement. Okay, so there's sentient. And the other one,
Okay,
sentient.
thank you.
I'm not an English major. English is also my second language, but little
No,
bit in there. Person like you, Katie,
no, mine is my fifth language. So understanding it.
okay, anybody else? All right, so Raksha is smiling. I'm so happy, Raksha, you're joining at this young age.
No, this Bhagavad Gita class has been very helpful for me. So thank you so much.
And bless are your parents who are making this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yes, so nice. All right, so Mukesh, Chandrasekhar, Chris, Alcina, and Naina Ben.
Yanisha Bhutanam.
Yo,
Hari Om, Sunaji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. We'll see you next Monday, or maybe day after tomorrow. Some of you are so kind. You don't get tired of me giving me the company. Hari Om.
Yeah.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.